It started on a rainy Friday evening, the kind of night where the world outside felt distant, shrouded in a cold, unrelenting drizzle. The raindrops tapped against the windows like a mournful symphony, echoing the unease that had quietly crept into my life. My wife, Elizabeth, had always been my confidant, my anchor, the one I trusted with my heart, my secrets, my very being. But lately something had shifted. The warmth that once illuminated her smile had dimmed. Her laughter sounded hollow, forced, and the fiery passion that had defined our relationship had faded, replaced by a monotonous routine. I couldn't shake the nagging suspicion that something was terribly wrong. One evening, while she was in the shower, her phone buzzed on the nightstand. Normally, I respected her privacy, but an inexplicable force pushed me to check it. My hands shook as I unlocked the screen, guilt clawing at me before I even saw anything. What I found was far worse than I could have imagined. Messages stared back at me, unraveling my world. Elizabeth was involved with a man named Paul. Their texts revealed weeks of secret meetings, intimate exchanges, and emotional confessions. The things I thought were ours alone had been shared with someone else. My chest tightened, my heart plummeting as the reality of her betrayal sank in. How could she, the woman I had loved so deeply, the partner I had trusted in every sense, destroy everything we had built? The proof was undeniable. Detailed plans, affectionate messages, declarations of a connection that grew stronger with every word. It was a nightmare I couldn't wake from. In the days that followed, I carried this burden silently, pretending life went on as usual. Each lie Elizabeth told, meeting friends, staying late at work, I swallowed with a forced calm, biting my tongue. I had to figure out my next move. Slowly, a dark, vengeful, but strangely liberating idea began to form. Elizabeth had a sister, Sarah, who had always been a part of our lives. Sarah was everything Elizabeth had stopped being: warm, kind, and genuine. Over time, Sarah and I had grown close, sharing interests and mutual respect. She had always shown me understanding. I knew she would be horrified to learn the truth. So, one day I reached out under the pretense of needing someone to talk to. I invited her over while Elizabeth was out with Paul, explaining I was struggling and needed a friend. Sarah didn't hesitate. When she arrived, I poured us drinks and we sat in the living room. The air was thick with tension, the weight of unspoken words pressing down. Her concern was evident, her eyes searching mine for answers. Slowly, deliberately, I began to reveal everything. I told her about Elizabeth's affair, the lies, the unbearable pain I carried. Shock drained the color from her face, disbelief widening her eyes. Then instinctively she reached out, her touch gentle. In that moment, an unspoken connection sparked, one that had quietly built over the years, unnoticed until now. One thing led to another. Without planning, without reason, we found solace in each other's arms. It wasn't right. It wasn't intentional. But in the midst of chaos and heartbreak, it felt like a fleeting reclaiming of control, a brief escape from the crushing weight of betrayal. The fragile moment shattered when the front door creaked open. Elizabeth walked in, drenched from the rain, cheeks flushed, likely from her night with Paul. Her eyes swept the room, landing on Sarah and me, caught in an unmistakable embrace. She froze. Her keys slipped from her hand, clattering to the floor. Her expression morphed from shock to horror, lips opening and closing for words that would not come. The silence was deafening. For a long moment no one moved or spoke. Elizabeth stared at the scene, realizing the tables had turned in ways she couldn't have foreseen. I rose, voice steady but cold. "Elizabeth," I said, meeting her tear-filled gaze. "I know about Paul. I've known for a while. What hurts the most isn't just the betrayal. It's that you never considered the consequences for us, for me. You destroyed our marriage the moment you chose to be unfaithful. I think it's clear we can't come back from this." Her eyes brimmed with tears, not of anger, but of soul-crushing regret, finally seeing what her choices had cost her. Sarah, visibly shaken, gathered her things in silence and left, leaving Elizabeth and me alone in suffocating quiet. We sat across from one another for what felt like hours, the weight of everything heavy in the air. Words were impossible, consumed by the wreckage of a marriage once built on trust and love. Eventually, Elizabeth broke down, sobbing uncontrollably. But I couldn't comfort her. That part of me, the part that once held her and believed in our future, was gone. The trust, the bond that had held us together, was irreparably broken. In the days that followed, we made the painful decision to separate. Elizabeth moved out, and the messy, raw, emotional process of divorce began. As for Sarah, she reached out later, apologizing for her role that night. Couldn't hold anger. We were both victims of Elizabeth's choices, caught in a storm neither of us had foreseen. The love I once had for Elizabeth was now a memory, bittersweet, a reminder of what had been, and a lesson in the fragility of trust. The road ahead was uncertain, but one truth remained. This chapter had ended, definitively and painfully.